And welcome to the part two of this wonderful podcast episode here. I'm joined by Illa J on the other side of the screen for me, the brother of the late great hip hop producer Jay Dilla. So this is something again. You've heard me say this in the first part of the interview. Totally geeked. I think this is really going to make my weekend here. But before we took that break, we were talking about a couple of things. I wanted to about music and how much music you and your brother have both absorbed because you were part of such a musical family for such a long period of time. Can you tell me from your firsthand experience, because I think it's completely different reading about someone writing as opposed to you living the life, because you lived the life. And I have like two questions for you. One, did you see your brother? Did you notice that there was something different about him with regards to music or capabilities? Because he was also an engineer. From what I read as well, just mathematically minded. So I wonder how much of that played a role in his ability to do what he did. And second, can you relay how your house was, like with him in the basement? What was it like? The experiences going down there? Any stories? Like, share everything, anything you can.
Yeah, so it's kind of trippy because it's like, again, it's like, because like I said, I'm in a very unique place. So it's like, me and my brother are a lot alike, honestly. It's like a lot of like, I'm just taller and I got the sports side. I got all the so you know, for real. So it's like I have the athlete part going for me and I'm taller, but realistically, you take me down a few inches and then you take out the basketball, it's the same person, you know what I mean? But it's like I feel like, and again, my bro, you know, that's something I know he's proud of, and he was when I was, you know, when he was still here. But you know, as I was always into working out and all these things, and that's one of the things he never got a chance to really get into because he was always so busy, making music, and I had that balance because of basketball. So basketball, that's what I'm saying. Basketball, man, it led me to having a really healthy life. Like cause I always kept working out in my thing. So it's like, because of that, it just like, it's just such an important thing. You know what I mean? And again, like that was one of those things with my brother. It's just what it is. Like he wasn't living a very healthy life because he was always working. So, you know what I mean? It's not like he had like a routine and like, okay, I'm gonna go take a run. I'm gonna eat some shit. Like sometimes he just work and forget to like his eating schedule off and things like that. So like, I know things like that affected him and stuff like that as far as like his health when working and stuff. So, but outside of that, it's crazy. It's like literally I'm like him and like my dad. It's like, it's crazy. Like I'm like both of them. Like I would say that the singer songwriter part is my dad, and then everything else is like just a different version of James. It's like, cause I said I really see me and my brother as like, it's a weird kind of thing, but it's like we're twins 12 years apart. I can't explain it. I cannot explain it, but like it's a real thing. It's like a real energy there. You know what I mean? And it's kind of ironic that we're not able to be here together grown at the same time, because that shows you how it's like a trippy thing, but it's like it'd be too much. It would be too much. I'd be sitting here looking at him, we both laughing, and we like, yo, it's too much. It's crazy.
Right.
He was like my taller, like I'd be his taller twin.
So I said, you guys looking like in the face in the cover of the Yanchy Boys album, right? I had a bunch of favorites on that track. There was Aliens, there was Timeless. I loved all those tracks. And this was, you know, I'm listening to this album shortly after realizing he's passed, because I'm like, you know, automatically starting to wiki things. I'm like, yo, where is this guy? Like, and where is he from? And then I realized he passed away. So I like had to like just basically look. And I'm like, oh, he's got a brother. Let me see what his brother's doing. And then I'm like, oh, his brother does music too. Yo, they sound alike. Like their voices sound alike. They like it's like literally it's like almost a match, and that's kind of crazy. And I'm sure you've heard that a million times from people, you know, you've seen in the studio. Did you have anyone like come to your house that was like big names? I heard Eminem came through. Like I know your brother was like super low key. Like he was like a background guy. Like he'd be like, yeah, I'm on the Source magazine. Your mom would be like, yeah, you're on the mag. He's like, yeah, and then back to work. Like, like that's very humble. Like it's crazy. But did like you encounter like anybody that you wanted to ever meet? Did they come over and collaborate with them on projects with you there, or?
So basically, the house we were living in when I was growing up, we moved and he took that house over. So like, like we would still come to the house and stuff. So like, you know, when people was there, but like in the early days, it was just Slum, and then like it was like the one person I do remember is Proof, like rest in peace Proof. Like Proof was like that was like, it was like a family friend, like so it's like literally friend and family. So him and my bro was close like that. So I never met him back in the day, but I do remember Paul Rosenberg coming to our crib at some point. So it's just like I remember like
very cool
certain people that I would see from time to time or whatever. But again, when I was younger, I was so focused on my own thing. I was like, like literally it was like John's gonna play basketball. Like literally it was like, it wasn't even a question. It wasn't even a question. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of ironic that I'm doing music, and it's like, and the thing is, it's not that I never thought I would do it. It was just more like I said, in my mind, it's like, I know how the world is. Like it's crazy because like even as a kid, I'm looking back, I'm like, I was pretty smart because I knew what would happen. And then as soon as I started doing music, all the comparisons, the shadow stuff, it's exactly what it was exactly why I didn't want to do it. But at the same time, once I started, it was just like, it's just like, I knew this. So it's like, you know what I mean? So, but it's different knowing about it before you go into it and actually experiencing it. But at the same time, it gave me something that most artists don't have. So I'm actually thankful for it, because like then I have like a actual like you know what I mean? It made me have to push harder, you know what I mean, to cut through. Otherwise, it's just like, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have had the same. And I don't know. It's just what it is. It's like a weird, like that's what I'm saying. Like my whole story and career is like the weirdest thing, because it's just like I always think about if my bro was here, what would that be like and shit. And I always shout out to K Shanada and Lou Phelps. So it's like K Shanada, he's a big producer from Canada, and his brother's a super dope rapper. And I always, every time I see them too, like I just always think about, like what it would be like if my bro was still here and shit, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's always dope. I love that they doing their shit, they how they support each other. And last I know, my brother's like still here spiritually with me and shit, but like that's the type of stuff I think about. But yeah, man, I don't know. I keep going off topic.
No, you listen, you are, look, this is more up my alley than anything else. I don't feel like I have to, don't feel like you have to, stay in any direction. I wanted to circle back to something that I was going to ask you earlier. We both kind of flew away from it. Talking about energy, I took my family and I both went to the Smithsonian African American Museum in DC, where you have your brother's MPC 3000 is. And I think in the Moog as well. I saw both. And man, let me tell you, this was last summer. So I made this trip purposeful and intent. I was like, before we even left Jersey, I was like, we have to hit this museum. I heard it was there, but I had never gotten a chance to do it. I think one time I went and I was like, we'll skip it. But I didn't know his stuff was there. I almost went explicitly to see that. I was like going in there, like, all right, which one? You know what I mean? And as we kind of got higher and higher, and I went in front of that glass, man, it was like, yo, this is it. Like, this is, 2008 to 2021. Like, all these years of interest have accumulated to me being able to see the instrument itself. And it felt like the dude was right there. Like, I can't really describe. It felt so, and I stood there for a long time. Like I went back to the Moog, and I was like, that's amazing, right? And I come back, I'm like, yo, his fingers were on this. This was what he was using. And trying to explain it to, like people who don't understand, I'm not a musician. I just understand, I have a limited understanding, but, I understand, like, okay, well, he put the music in here and he did this and yada, yada. But it's like this guy was on this machine, and it's here. Like, the fact that, I think it impressed me more that your brother bought the machine and then he used it. And then somebody posthumously said, well, we need that. Like, this is just something he bought to use. Like, it could be anything he touched could be an artifact, right? Like, in a sense, how did you feel about, and I'm not sure if you've gone, but how do you feel about having your brother's stuff on display like that in the DC? Does it do anything for like your family name, for yourself as his brother? Do you feel proud that it's there, or?
Oh yeah, I'm super proud. I love saying that. Yeah, brothers MPCs and
Smithsonian.
It's dope. My only thing, and it's like real stuff. Like, you can even ask my mom. Like, the only thing that, and I'm okay with it, but it's like, at first, like, I was like, because I was actually using the Moog, the Moog. So that's the only thing that like I was like, I felt the way about that, but at the same time, though, now that it's in the museum, it's like it's just dope that it's in there. And then I have my own mug now. So like I actually just got my first mug recently. I have a
Beautiful.
I got two actually. I got a Moog 20 sub 25 and I got a Moog grandmother. So like it's my first. Yeah, because I honestly, when I opened the box and looked at it, that was the first time since me touching my brother's Moog, and it was honestly it was cool looking at it, and I was like, shit, this is my own. Like it honestly even more special, honestly. So it was like it was dope. Like yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah, it's dope being in there. I haven't been down there, yo. I know it's going to be the only reason I haven't been, honestly, because I know it's going to be a moment. It's going to be, it's definitely going to hit me, when I just to see it there. But like, I honestly, like, I'm more than like proud of my bro, and it's just crazy to see. Like, I just wish, like, that's the only thing. I just wish he was here to see. That's the thing. You know what I mean? But it's like, that's the unfortunate part. But I don't know. It's crazy. It's like, you think about it, there's a lot of musicians that's passed away, but like for a hip hop producer without any Billboard #1 hits or anything, to his legacy to continue to grow so much. Like it's been 15, 16 years since my bro passed, and I haven't seen any other. I'm just like not comparing, but I haven't seen any other artists that passed away where their legacy just continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Like it's insane. Like each year he has more people that knows about his legacy.
It's like I agree with you, like that, especially that last statement. Like I just don't see. I'm like, yo, name somebody. I've been in a conversation. I'm like, name somebody. I'll wait. I'm like, name somebody. I'm like, you don't. So like, yeah, it's like, oh, that track you like? Oh, well, he produced that. Oh, you like Eric? I was like, oh, he produced that too. Oh, you like Tribe Called Quest? Oh, he produced this for Q-Tip. Oh, you like this? So it's like, I'm like, and I studied this on my own prior to reading, so it was cool to like those things matched, right? Like, because some of it can be lore, right? Like. This like, okay, like how much of it, there's one, part of it, you don't have to talk on it. Obviously, there's one part about a big story out there about like how much work he did from his hospital bed. And I'm like, I'm sure he did some kind of work. I said, but you know what? Regardless of what he did, the fact is, he left an impact that's touched artists that are alive today. Kendrick Lamar, Michael Jackson, I keep going down the list. So it's like, he doesn't have to be in the forefront. He intentionally was background from what I understand. And for him to have the impact, I think it was more important to him, and you correct me if I'm wrong, right? To have, just like I am as an instructor, I don't need to be on the front. I don't need to be on the cover. I like the fact that I train people and they're able to go out there and use what I taught them to align their destiny for themselves. I don't need no recognition for that. You can shake my hand, you can send me a DM. I'm cool with that. I talk to my students all the time that have left or, moved on with their lives or whatever, geography and I'm like, yo, and they're still telling me today, although in no way comparable to your brother, like, hey, thanks for, checking on me. Thanks for, making me do the extra work. It makes a difference, right? Like, and I think your brother did so much extra work, right? That no one was doing. Like, I don't even think anyone thought to do any work in the same way. Or to the intensity, right, that he was doing. And the fact that you were able to absorb all that from him, I think makes you really special. I haven't, to me, even before I got you, I was like, the one driving factor for me was like, I wonder how much of his brother's stuff has he absorbed and how much stuff, because we're both, you and I are at that age where we're like right smack dab in the middle of like old school. It's like, like I get the same thing in martial arts. Like, we could be really old school and hit these guys hard. I'm like, I can appreciate the old school for the fact that if that didn't exist, I wouldn't know how to augment it to work better.
Yeah.
So it's an appreciation, never like, but I don't gotta break my body to go teach these kids or break my body or break them.
Exactly.
Like, I said, there can be balance. I could still be stern but kind, and I feel like that's kind of like the vibe that your brother sort of left behind. I'm gonna do this in the background. If it makes it, it makes it. And I don't even think to him he knew the impact he was gonna have prior to his untimely departure. I want to talk about your album too, because I listened to it the day it came out. I follow you on Spotify, so I get the notifications.
Oh, word. That's dope.
Yeah,
That's dope.
yeah, man. I'm not just here to interview you, man. I like your music. So talk about your album. I know you did this with Harley Blue. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly.
Yep.
It was a really dope collaboration. One of my favorite tracks from you, by the way, of all time is, I think it's called Snow Beach. I love it.
Oh shit! Oh, wow.
I'm real here. I didn't just talk to you. I'm real. I was bumping that in the whip like all week. I was like, I'm gonna talk to him this week, but it didn't even occur to me. Like I just put on tracks that I like, and Snow Beach is one of them on my favorites. We'll parlay after we're done with the interview. I'll show you. But if you want to talk a little bit about your album, this particular collaboration, is there anything that makes this albums different or stand out from any of the other albums you've done before?
Yeah, so honestly, it leads perfectly off from where you left off. I started my career as a solo artist, and even then I was always making beats. So it's like it's never been a time where I haven't been making beats. It's just more like I never had all the tools. It took me time to get my own tools. So once I got my tools, then it enabled me to fully dive all the way back into my production. You know what I mean? But I've always been a producer first, honestly, and I kind of like being in the back in the weirdest way. It's like so with me and Harley's project that came out, it started as me just producing for her, and I wasn't even want to be on the tracks or anything. I was just producing for her. We had a good chemistry. Like I said, she's a super dope artist, and my favorite thing about her is that she could write on. Like, not only is she a dope musician and all that, and she could write on the spot. Like, literally, I'm making the beat.
That's hard to do.
Playing the bass line. I look up 5 minutes later. She like, yo, I got a hook. She's jumping in the booth already. So it's just like, salute to Harley Blue, man. She's an amazing artist, and I honestly think people are going to trip. Because I said we already have a second album already done. So so I'm just excited for people to continue to hear all the stuff that we're working on. Because pretty much this first album, me and Harley Blue, is the first of our collabs. So at this point, we're gonna have a bunch of. We're basically a band, but we are keeping our solo names, which is kind of cool. So it's like Illa J and Harley Blue is technically a band. So it's like, but it honestly, this project is special to me because it's my first time fully producing a whole project, and I've always wanted to do that. And I can write songs and stuff, you know what I mean? But like I really aspire to be more like my bro, and he's more like again, this is where the basketball comes in.
Yeah.
He's more of an old school point guard. He's a pass first point guard. You know what I mean? I'm setting everybody up. Hey, here, Erykah Badu, shoot a shot. Common, shoot a shot. Talib, shoot a shot. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
He was throwing oops to all those dudes. You know what I mean? So like I'm kind of there, but I'm a score a little bit. I'll give you the ball, but that rebound just came off the rim. I'm gonna dunk that in real quick.
I got you.
You know what I mean? So I like produce, because like how I want to do it is where I'm gonna just pick artists that I want to produce for, and I'm gonna just produce for them. And if they need a verse, I'll be the rap feature.
I like that.
Yeah. So I think my bro was more like, 15 points. Like he had more like John Stockton stats. He'll have like 15 points, but he'll put up 20 assists or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he can go solo and score. You know what I mean? Like he had like his MCA project was like that was his first time kind of like, he was going to have different producers on it. So he can highlight himself as a rapper, which I call a scorer. So that was just like, okay, that was his, I'm putting up 25 a game.
Right.
Album, right? But most part he's producer. So, but again, like that's what this Harley project is for me. It's like it's my chance to, and I thanked her, like honestly, like she gave me a chance to really step out as a producer, because I've been wanting to do it, but like I say, it's just finding the right artist, and our voices and her production just marries with my vocals so well. So it's like when we in the studio, it's so natural. So
it's a great album. Hideout is the name of the album.
Yep.
Harley Blue. Shout out to Harley Blue. I don't know you, but you're gonna know me after this, I'm sure. But shout out to her. Number. I hadn't heard of her prior to this particular collaboration that you had. And I really liked it because a lot of your stuff has been solo stuff, solo artists, like you said. And I was gonna actually ask you a question about that, so you've answered that for me now, which is good. And it was a really smooth album. Like you've always got like a smooth tone over the beats. It's not like rough or erratic. So it was cool. I think everybody should definitely give that a listen. And hopefully we can get that second album to us sooner than later. You don't have us hanging out too long for that.
Oh yeah, I'll be real. Like we already, so I won't say a date yet, but we're gonna release our second album later this year.
Okay.
Because like we pretty much, cause I said it's like me and Harley, we got a whole game plan right now. And I'm really excited. Honestly,
I see it flowing over there. I see the energy there. I see it.
Because honestly, like I was saying, like I like being in the back as the producer, and again, I can be on the mic and stuff, but like I would rather, like, I realized over my career making music, I look at my solo career as like practice for me being a producer, in the sense of like, now that I know I've been a solo artist, you know what I mean? Now if I produce for a solo artist, I know what it's like to be the artist that need the beats and shit. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I know how to treat the artist and make the artist feel comfortable, because I've been that person before. So you know what I mean? So it's like I enjoy playing that role. Like I said, like I don't need to be out there. Harley, she's gonna be the star. Everybody gonna be like, oh my God, Harley Blue.
Right.
I'm gonna be back. and it's fun. I really enjoy it, because like my favorite thing lately, honestly, is synthesizers, man. I love synthesizers even more than, just as much as I won't say more, because then I just as much as drum machines and samplers. I love it, love synthesizers and oscillators, and oh man, I could do that.
How do the MPCs for you measure up? Because I'll tell you that the episode, I title all my episodes, so I'll come up with something creative for this one. But the title of the last episode I did with Mr. Charnas was called "The MPC is mightier than the sword." So I put something like that because I love that. I love how the MPC looks. So it's funny you talk about synthesizers, right? The Moog is a version of that, if I'm not correct. Am I right? Is the Moog a synthesizer?
Yeah, Moog is a synth. Yep,
okay.
100% analog too.
Got you. Okay, so that's like really like super special and not cheap machine.
No.
I know. I was like, I looked up at MPC one time and I was like, oh, okay. So like, it was like almost like whatever model you were looking for, that's how much it cost. Like if it was an MPC 3000, it would cost $3,000. I'm like, holy cow, these are expensive machines. And there was an interesting part in the Dilla Time book, and I thought of thinking about you a little bit on this, because it's kind of like, it was like, I don't know, your brother was kind of like Bruce Wayne in it with it. Like he was like, you got like this little back cave because there was a file or something like that had been like, I guess, encrypted with technology that had been outdated at some point, as music was making a transition from more of like the manual, right, in the beat production, I guess, or digital. So like, cats like Ninth Wonder, who I also like, they would be able to make their stuff off of the computers a little bit more. What's the name of the there's a name for it that you can produce on it. It escapes me right now, but anyway, your brother had an encrypted file practically with like basically him practicing making music. He never got a chance to flesh it out, but music in the digital format, all synchronized and all organized by date. And it was like even on his way out of here, years and years since, like you said, this guy's passed, and we're still getting blown away by like what he was doing on his own. Like he was like already like into the new age, right? Yeah. And he wasn't so old school, going back to what you said, that he was stuck there. He was like, I can see the direction, and I think you're very visionary as well. You can see the direction because you have to be present with what you're doing in your craft, right? Because we're both, I think, masters in our own way of our crafts, but you also have to see where it's going to, and then see if you can put your own accent on it in some way, because you can't control it. But yeah, it was really interesting. He saw the digital age coming and had already started to make his mark there, and left like a file for the next Batman. Like, hey, when it's your turn, this is how you this is how you synthesize. Again, this is how you synthesize, right? The old school with the new stuff. And I feel like I feel like you got the torch, man. So it's everything's on you now.
You know what's crazy? So when it comes to the workflow, so what I realize is that, you know, and I talk to different homies, like, because I feel like everybody, they have a specific, they make it, and that's the thing, they make it very specific. They think that, oh, well, he made this beat a specific way, so I'm gonna learn that workflow and try to work in that specific way. And that's, like I said, that's one thing. And then you got people that's like, they're trying. So it's like, without me, let me come back to what I was gonna say. So it's like, people, so they make it very specific how he made shit. You know what I mean? And as I get older and I'm doing the same things, it's like, everybody that I know that's doing what I'm doing and on the same level as me, we all on the same level. Like we all working with a bunch of different shit. Like I love my MPC. I love my MPCs, but I have like 7 different workflows depending on,
right.
And even those can change because I'm constantly learning. It's constantly new gear coming out, constantly updates on the gear, the existing gear I have, new updates. So it's like, you master it, and then it's like a new workflow that you got to master. It's like, yo, update 2.12. Now you push this button, now it does this. So it's like, right. It's a constant learning curve. Like, you know what I mean? You never stop learning. So it's just like, what I've realized is that you just got to work with whatever workflow works for you. You know what I mean? It's like I've tried to ask and see what other people, what works for them and things like that. And it's just more like, and that's what my brother mastered the most. He mastered his way. So it's like, okay, I figured out my way, and he knew how not to let anyone else get in his way of like, no, this is how I want my kicks to sound. This is how I want my snares to sound and shit. So it's like, I think essentially it's getting down to just figuring out your own workflow. And I figured out mine. Again, like, salute to my engineer, like, because again, there's some people that like, yeah, they can mix on their own. Like, and I can mix on my own, yeah, but I'm realistic, man. I'm like I said, man, I'm a team player, man. I realized that all the homies and everybody that got rings got dope teams. Right. Let's be real. So it's just like, I can go and put up 40 myself and mix the record, do all the shit, and, you know what I mean? But right. I'd rather, I know my homie, that's all he does is engineer. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, if anything, now I got another ear on my shit, and that's not just mine. So it's just like, you know, he's really good with the frequencies, knowing about the higher frequencies and how many, pull that down to 2 dBB. I'm like, okay, whatever. I know, because I look at it like I've mastered feel. So I know what it's supposed to feel like. I know what the rhythm's supposed to feel like, you know what I mean? And then it's levels of shit to everything, you know what I mean? But like, I went all over with that. But like I said, I'm just talking about like how, you know, I don't think it's a specific workflow or anything. I just think you just constantly just keep getting better and better and better and better. And then even with machines, it's not the machine. It's like, it's you. It's like, right. I realize now that no matter what machine I get, it's gonna feel like me. Right. It might sound different. Now again, the sonics, that is a different thing. So the MPC, I don't know what they do. I don't know what Kai got or what Roger Lynn did. Right. But it's something in that sound engine. It come out the MPC. No other machine sounds like that. Everything else sounds plastic compared to an MPC. And I'm talking about drum machines. And then it's the same with synthesizers. Like, I don't know what they figured out. Yeah. But I know none of my other synths sound like that. None of them sound like that. Like,
what would you say is the importance of practice in terms of developing a technique? Again, like almost right, sort of in the realm of martial arts basketball. What's the importance of practicing to develop technique? Personally, I feel like the more you know, the less you can use, right? You could be a little bit more selective about what you want to use if you have a vocabulary, right? That's expansive. What would you say is important to you musically about practicing? Do you practice? And what is the importance of technique in your music?
It's definitely, practice is like, so it's like, we talking about practice?
I was hoping you were going to say that. You got it. I'm going to say practice 3 times. Let's see if Allen Iverson comes out.
Honestly, yo, it's one of those things where practice, it's just like, it's like at this point, I don't even think of it. Like, I'm just like,
is it
like
practice anymore?
martial arts, like you said, martial arts is it becomes a way of life, right? Yes. So it transcends beyond the dojo. So like, but for me, I look at it like, for me, and my craft with music and shit. Sorry, that threw me off.
No worries, man. No worries. You're good.
What's the point? Sorry.
Practice and is it
practice? Yeah. Practice. So practice, like, so for me, like, I'm always making music. I'm always thinking about making music, and I'm always thinking about a new way to make music and a new way to learn. Like, it just literally never stops. So it's like, when the whole practice thing is like, it's like when am I not practicing kind of thing. So it's like, I don't even think of it as practice at this point. It's just more like, I wake up, I'm literally like, I'm either going through Sweetwater, looking up new machines, or I'm looking at, I'm on YouTube, seeing if it's like, I'm wondering if someone figured out something else that I haven't figured out on my machine already.
Right.
So what it is like, it's not necessarily practice. It's more about finding something that you love, and then everything else, you know what I mean? Like, when you find a craft that it really speaks to you, you don't even have to think about practice. You just gonna be doing it. You're just gonna be doing it. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
fair to say, investing.
A part of you.
Is it invest? Would it be fair to say, are you investing in what you're doing as opposed to practicing?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Because just the semantics there make a huge difference, right? Like, it's same thing here. Like, it's like, do I practice as often as I did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago? No. But every class I teach, and I've said this even to students, and I have these moments, and people may be surprised that hear this. I'm literally learning every class I teach. And I teach by myself. I'm a solo entity, much like yourself, right? And every class I teach, even if it's about how I word something, and it comes out, I'm like, oh, I just taught myself how to make that same thing that was initially hard for me to get to the white belt a lot easier for them to now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then like, oh, this guy's on this level. How do I translate, something difficult into something simple? And how can I make something simple and to extrapolate that into a difficult concept to where this person now wants to practice for the next 2 years? So it's like, I feel like it's that's what I hear from you on that, and that's a brilliant response to that.
Yeah.
So music are related.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because like, again, like I said, like, I'm a full-on athlete in how I approach it. So like, yes. Again, when I say every single part of my game, just like an athlete would, like, yo, I've taken, I have vocal training, I've had, like, you know what I mean? I've worked on every single thing. And it's funny what you say with that though, right? So I had my vocal training, but then once I mastered it, it was like, so like just to go real quick. So she taught me my breathing technique. She taught me vocalizing everything, like, super dope vocal trainer. I mean, I basically classically trained, like, salute to my vocal coach, Betty Lang, back in Detroit. And so I would do these warm-ups before every show at some point, right? And then it got to a point where I can't even explain it, but once it's like, once you've mastered your instrument or your technique, whatever that is, right? And I don't even have to think anymore. I just go. It was a certain point where I was doing warm-ups before in the previous shows, and at one of the shows, I just rested my voice the whole time before the show. Started like literally 2 minutes before, okay? Jump right on, and it's crazy because it's like, and I think that's what you get into at a certain point. At a certain point, it's like when you cross mastery, then you just doing it at that point. You just literally just doing it.
Right.
I mean, so it's just like, it's like, yeah, practice, but like I see what you're saying, but it's like, even then, it's like, it's hard to explain, but it's a mindset. It's almost like you claiming it before you've even mastered it, because it's like you're becoming it. It's like not to be, you know what I mean? Like I said, this whole Bruce Lee thing, it's funny, but it's like, it's real. You become it. So it's just like,
that's what
naturally, it's like, so for me, okay, I want to be a music producer. So in my mind, naturally, okay, what kind of headphones does a music producer get? What kind of, I'm manifesting. I have to manifest it. So it's just like, that's what I realized in life is like a lot of people, they waiting on something to happen. And it's like, realistically, whatever plan is, like, most likely you're like the most important asset within that whole thing. It's like you have to start somewhere, you know what I mean? So yeah, man.
I love that. I love that answer, man.
We can go forever, man. We got
we definitely
bars over here.
I'd love to have you back on. I really I want to leave you just with the next couple of seconds. If you wanted to shout out any projects or any people, if you can, if you have any brands that you want to shout out, go ahead and let it rip.
For sure, yo. Want to salute to first off our new album, Hideout, Illa J and Harley Blue. Salute to Harley Blue, super dope singer-songwriter from the UK. Salute to my wife. She did all the artwork and she shot all the videos, and she did all of the creative directions. Salute to my engineer, Kyle. He did an excellent job mixing this album. And I'll just say me and Harley Blue have another album coming out later this year. Lots more music coming. Appreciate all the love everyone's showing. And yo, just be successful.
That's it. Just be successful and keep at it, right? Yo, man, it's been a wonderful interview. Like I said, I'm hoping I can stay in touch with you, get you back on the show. I'm going to send you one of these shirts when we log off. I'll get you, and I'll shoot something out your way to, say, give my thank you all the way from New Jersey here. But really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being genuine, for having great music, and for lending your truth to us on this podcast, this episode of the Mastery Podcast. Thank you so much, man.
For sure, man. Salute, bro.
Salute. All right, everybody. Thank you.